Reluctant Entrepreneur Tarot. I'm Diana Ideas, Master Certified Coach, and this video takes you behind the scenes of Reluctant Entrepreneur Tarot with card 3 Innovation. So on the Innovation card, we have a female tattoo artist who's in the process of creating a tattoo, and behind her is an abundance of wildflowers. So this abundance, this creation, this partnership, this process of creating something over time, the idea of the intention of creation that doesn't necessarily look like or turn out as expected is the energy of the mother, which is also the energy of the Empress. So if you watch the previous video or have familiarity with the intuition card, there's a range of the divine feminine and the feminine expression. With the High Priestess, which is the card 2, in this case associated with intuition, we have a kind of darker sense of knowing, sense of mystery and knowledge in the intuition card, where it transitions into that warmth and excitement and enthusiasm of the Empress for innovation. So tarot has relationships within the deck, and so this is also shows a range of expression. But as far as relationships, the High Priestess card is paired with the Magician. So they both have that magic and that sense of deep knowledge to start the entrepreneur or the fool on their path, but it expresses itself differently. It shows up differently. As far as the Empress, she's paired with the Emperor. And from the entrepreneurial perspective, you have to have an innovation and the process of creation and figuring out what are you creating, what are you selling. Even if you're selling someone else's product, how are you going to sell it enough that it's going to be sustainable for your business? And then it turns into, and it evolves, the path evolves into that sales card, into that Emperor, the more structure, foundational, what's your legacy, what's your process. So this is just a way to kind of see the relationships within the cards. You're welcome, of course, to take the cards one at a time. But if you're wanting to learn more about tarot, or you're wanting to learn more about the cards in this deck, there are relationships between the cards. So as we go deeper onto the innovation card, the best way to predict the future is to create it. So the idea of creation and the fact that in reality, we can't predict it. We can only control so much. But even as you think about the association with the Empress and motherhood, you know what the outputs are going in, but what gets created, that's nature. There's a magic to it, there's creation to it. It's not necessarily in anyone's control. There's that mystery and there's that sense of timeline. There's also that deep sense of relationships. This card also is associated with expression. So the Empress is often shown as pregnant. She's surrounded by nature. You even have the heart there. So strong sense of that relational, the expression, a lot of the divine feminine presence, which did show up in the previous card with the High Priestess. But the Empress is an expression of the divine feminine that people, frankly, are often more familiar and more comfortable with because of the association with the mothering, nurturing, the caring. We also have the thought of Mother Nature, though, where there is life created. There are those cycles, but the cycles and the process, or sometimes the storms and the wildfires, there are things not in our control that just happen. And so some of that too, as we associate with nature and mother or Mother Nature in that way, there can be some of that challenge. And that happens as well in innovation. We create something, but we are not necessarily responsible for what happens with it. And one of the challenges from an entrepreneurial perspective is if you've taken this time to nurture your baby, whether that's your business or the products that you're selling, and then people don't want those products or people are saying your baby is ugly, that can be a very painful process, especially as you have that level of investment because you brought it to life. So in Tarot for Change, Jessica Dorr says the Empress represents nature and is, in my experience, one of the most misunderstood arcana in the tarot. People love her but can't put a finger on why. I think it's because we long to be in our bodies but have forgotten how. And she shows us what it would feel like if we could. So one of the things to think about with the feminine cards in the deck, you do see that cycle, the association with the moon, the feminine, the cycle. And also there's that body embodiment. So the Empress, again, is usually pregnant. Innovation, what are you birthing or bringing to life? We also have to look at self-care. So whether or not you're bought into self-care, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't take care of your body, you're not taking care of your business. That's just a practicality because your business can't sustain without you unless you've set it up in a way that it can. But usually for entrepreneurs, especially those starting out, or especially those focusing on innovating and growing their business, there's often a focus on, not a focus on the body, and not a focus on the importance of the body or the seasons, that sometimes it will be light or dark, that there's a balance between summer and winter, and ignoring all of that has consequences. So questions to consider as we think about innovation: what seeds are you planting? What benefits have unfolded from elements or seasons not in your control or according to plan? What do you need to nurture to support your business, you and your business success? And what is your body telling you? And if you'd like to listen to more, Cross Street Coaching Season 4, The Reluctant Entrepreneur, associated with product. So even if you are not creating a product, you are creating your own business. So there is that aspect of innovation. And so Jason and I discuss more what that is. There's some questions to consider and think about. Some people don't associate themselves with innovators. That doesn't stop them necessarily from being in business. Sometimes that's more comfortable on the franchise side, where you're just producing something, you're producing and running a business that's already created. But normally those who gravitate to the entrepreneurial life or feel a pull to the entrepreneurial life have that desire to create something new. And that has a level of mystery and a lack of control that can be very uncomfortable. But starting with what is your product? What are you actually selling before we transition into the Emperor's card and sales? We discuss that more. So the song associated with this card is Eve with Gwen Stefani and Let Me Blow Your Mind. And the chorus is what really resonated for me here. So it's only been a year. I've got my foot in the door, not going anywhere. It took a while to get me here. I'm going to take my time. Don't fight it. Let me blow your mind. So that's a paraphrase, taking some of the curse words out. But the idea, as we think about Eve, she was one of the first female rappers. And then also she transitioned from rapping into acting. And that may be the normal thing now, but it wasn't necessarily a normal thing then when she first came out. And if you also think about Gwen Stefani, the prolific abundance of their career and then also of their partnership. So an association with the Empress is relationships. You know, that pregnancy is created in context of a partnership. And so Eve and Gwen Stefani have multiple songs that they produce together. So the idea of time is here, and just it takes time. There's a different timeline, and that's what happens with innovation. She talks about red from blonde, yeah, beyond drastic. So as we think about Mother Nature and how things evolve and not necessarily in your control, frustration, baby, you got to breathe. Take a lot more than you to get rid of me. You see, I do what they do. They can't do. I just do me. So the idea of that identity of it evolving, the breath in the body, and then, you know, we may not like nature at times, but nature is going to proceed with or without our consent. Talks about she creates her own lines, love for my wordplay that's hard to find, sophomore, I ain't scared, one of a kind. And then she talks about ride or die, and it was planned on. So the idea of the innovation, the partnership, the creation, but also really this song and Eve as a rapper really paved the way. Or you think about Gwen Stefani and how early they hit the music scene and how much of an impact they've had on it, but in their own way and in their own time, which is very reflective of the Empress. There's seeds, there's foundation there, but at the same time, there's their sense of innovation that doesn't necessarily move in a linear path. So if you'd like to learn more, the description, questions to consider, the podcast episode, this video, and ways to work with us are available on reluctantentrepreneurtarot.com. We are also on Instagram at reluctantentrepreneurtarot. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to working with you.